Outcome of the 2023 presidential election is still being disputed, but not by all parties involved. The national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Shehu Gabam, said the party will not challenge the outcome in courts. Gabam said the party stands by the laws that establish the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and acknowledged that it is the only institution that conducts an election and declare results. As such, INEC has declared Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the winner of the election. SDP saying that.
Honestly, I look forward to less litigations. Less litigation
First of all, let's look at the stake of the SDP.
No.
The
SDP actually said that the SDP acknowledged that the election was not perfect. But I read a statement, acknowledged that the election was not perfect. I think all of us, I don't think, even INEC knows that the election wasn't perfect. But the SDP said that it agreed that APC had emerged as the winner. The SDP said it was only going to contest the legislative, some of the legislative victories that others won, because it believed that some of his candidates were rigged out or something like that. So SDP, of course, SDP knows that it was not a strong contender for the presidential position. It was never one of the three strong parties. However, that is SDP's choice. I mean, if it would be very ridiculous, risible for SDP to say it's going to contest against the result of the election. However, we can't fault people who decided to go to the courts. What we are against are the rhetorics that people are pushing, approbating and reprobating. You've gone to the courts. Everybody knows you've gone to the court. That's the right thing to do. That's the decent thing to do in a civilized society. Nobody can fault Labour Party or the PDP for going to the courts. Even if we don't agree with their arguments, even if we don't agree with their viewpoints, it's our opinion. But we cannot say that it is wrong for them to go to the court. What we find very, very, very upsetting, sorely upsetting, are the rhetorics by some of them, or people who say that, who make incendiary comments that are capable of overheating the polity, comments that are capable of inviting that anarchy to the country. If you've gone to the court, let the system work. And that is what the sanest, most reasonable people are saying. INEC is the only institution empowered to declare winners of elections. It's not me, it's not Uayo, it's not Dati, it's not Obi, it's not Tinubu, it's none other than INEC. It's not the presidency. So, the only way you can invalidate or you can impeach the decision of the INEC is through the court. That is the only other institution that is empowered by the law to say, INEC, you are wrong and INEC will be wrong. So, SDP is fine. That's SDP's opinion, and it's fine. SDP does not even have any stake. You cannot even dare to say that it wants to contest the outcome of the election. Those who feel they won, who are convinced they won, have gone to the courts. So we'll see how that pans out.
Gary?
In a situation where you have somebody who came third in a race asking to be declared the winner, you cannot conveniently say SDP does not have a stake. I think they have a very strong stake, the Nigerian way. They could have also gone to court to add to the litigations. I'm impressed by what SDP has decided to do, and I think it is exemplary. There is no political party who goes into any election, be it councillorship, governorship, or presidential, with the intention of losing. The candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Adewale, went all over the country campaigning.
Adewale Adebayo.
He campaigned more than some of the people we are actually calling frontliner. And a very sound and intelligent individual. I met him thrice during his campaign. And I must tell you, here is somebody who also has great intentions.
Capable.
And why one would not want to blow his trumpets for him, I think he contested that election. He contested that election believing that he was going to win. I met him once or twice, and you need to see his optimism. He believed very strongly that he was running on the platform of a very popular political party. And you must give it to his enthusiasm. He ran the race very, very certain that he was going to do well. But it's an election. There will be winners and there will be losers. And what he is simply doing alongside his party is telling you, look, when we lose elections, it must not always end in litigation. He's trying to set this example that there are people who look after the election.
I think they want some seats in the national.
I'm coming to that. No, they have 2 Senate seats. That's more than some other parties who paraded 2 Senate seats and about 4 rep seats, and they have a handful of assembly seats.
That's strong.
2 Senate. In fact, in Nasarawa State, they want 2 seats. They want their 2 seats in Nasarawa State, not Central. And they are from the Southwest. So that's to tell you that it is not a party without stake. It's a party with stake in the incoming administration. Their 2 senators are going to be very, very instrumental should the opposition decide to rock the boat in any of the 2 houses. Their 2 senators and House of Reps member are going to play certain roles. So I think we should applaud the SDP for showing that example that with their decision, they have reduced the number of litigations, the number of time that will have been wasted, the number of resources, the number of judges that will have been stressed, and all that. There are 18 political parties in Nigeria that participated in the presidency. I saw one party that I'm sure did not get up to 2,000 votes, also in court, challenging the presidential election.
I think at the end of the Supreme Court will consolidate.
I think they are going to consolidate, but if there are 9 cases, it will take more time to consolidate than 3 cases.
I have yet to see any presidential candidate that will not express some kind of optimism that they will win. Yes, but that still doesn't mean that they should not be realistic after losing the election. As far as I'm concerned, what SDP has done is being realistic.
And that's something we should applaud.
Yeah.
Being realistic.
No, I agree.
Yes. We have a first caller. Undu is calling us from Nasarawa State.
Yes, Oga Ayo, good afternoon, sir. Happy Easter, sir.
Thank you.
And,
go ahead, please.
Dale, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
And the other person. Dale, you are looking young, these days, every day. What's the secret, sir?
Thank you very much.
My name is Hundu. My name is Hundu. I'm calling from Nasarawa State, Kano local government.
Okay.
Yes, you see, what you have said is correct because the 2 SDP people that won, in Nasarawa State here, and unfortunately, they were members of the APC, but there was disagreement that pushed them to SDP.
That means they're very popular.
Been contesting under APC. Yes, they have been very popular. It was as a result of disagreement that made them to go to SDP, and they have won. And that shows that the people actually knew who they were. But one thing here is that I'm finding it difficult to believe that politicians, when they lose any election, lawyers will keep pushing them to go to court so that they can keep smiling to the bank, even when they know the truth. Because I was on ground, and I know that Tinubu did very well. And I'm surprised that some people will not accept that this man has won the election, and they are saying, that he should be solely in. And they are saying many type of things. And I've been saying is that if they conduct this election again, Tinubu will still win. Because, like the person that comes third, Labour Party is not popular in many states that I know. Labour Party is not on ground in many states. So how do you intend to win? And lastly, Ayo, one thing is that Labour Party and PDP, they did not get the mandatory 25% in 25 states. Go and check it. They did not get. So how can you declare them the winner? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. And when we are looking at it, and you want to say that, oh, if this politicians are very, very optimistic.
They are very optimistic. I think also some of them, their optimism is just grandstanding, just to say the truth. There are people who I believe just came out to contest so that it can be in their political CV that they were once presidential candidates. There are people like that.
Okay, when I saw the results, when I saw the results, because it took me days to analyze the presidential election results, and when I saw it, and I now looked at a man called Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso.
Yeah.
The way Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso came into the presidential presidential race, he was meant to form an alliance with Peter Obi, but that did not work. But when the result came out, the reality became so clear that this is a man that was in charge of just Kano State. He held on to Kano State and
delivered it to himself.
It's so reverberating from the National Assembly down to the State House of Assembly, and he was able to win the governorship.
Ayo, if you recall.
But any other states, I did not see the presence.
Ayo, if you recall, before the election, I said it here that I was talking about NNPP. I was asking that who was the big face of NNPP in the Southwest? Who was the big face of the NNPP in the South-South? Who was the big face of the NNPP in several other regions? Apart from Kano or Northwest, Jigawa, where it is very strong.
And they did
now,
well. They did well.
They did well.
They did well.
I personally, I might be wrong, but I personally think...
For Taraba, it was the candidate. He was in the APC. They had issues he left for, and he was able to...
I personally think that the NNPP knew that was not going to win this election.
Of course.
I think that Rabi Kwankwaso had his own agenda, which he had achieved with Kano. Rabi Kwankwaso was going to prove a point with Kano.
I feel that just to get back at Ganduje.
Exactly.
We may be wrong to say he's getting back. He's a politician. He was losing grip of his stronghold, and he needed to get it back. Look, NNPP would never have won Kano if Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso was not contesting the presidency. In 2019, they tried the same thing. He was in PDP. He was not a presidential candidate. They went into runoff, almost won, but they never did. There was need for the galvanization. There was need to galvanize Kano for him. This person running for governorship is me. The same person.
Yes.
This is me. Vote for. And he had to be on the ballot. So under the guise of I am running for president, he went everywhere in Kano with the NNPP candidate.
Even Senator
Shekarau, who declined,
he had 400 and something thousand votes.
He won the election in absentia. Before the court gave it to Hanga. He won. Kano Central. That's somebody
that's
who
almost like a governorship result.
Yes, and that's what we are winning governorship with another state. So what I'm trying to say is NNPP scale, and that's why you've not had NNPP saying he's going to call for presidential. What they've said is that they are still studying
They achieved
and they know they are not interested in contesting the presidency. They wanted the governorship of Kano. The National Assembly members that will come from Kano, the House of Assembly in Kano. Kwankwaso wanted to return as the political godfather of that state. He was from 1999. Only shaken once, 2023, when Shekarau defeated him, stopped his second-time ambition. He was dislodged. Shekarau was in charge for 8 years. But Kwankwaso, being the politician he is, was able to
stage
a comeback, win his second term, install a successor in Ganduje, the current governor, who eventually did him in again, pushed him aside. And from 2015, he's been struggling to reclaim the state. And he must have fantastic strategists added to himself, because the only way Kano will have gone his way is for him to be on the ballot. Exactly. And that's what he did. And it worked perfectly well. So watch out for somebody like Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. He's a politician, and I know him very well. I can place a bet that he's not going to prove too difficult with the NNPP. It's going to go into a merger very soon. Just write it down. He knows that that party will not fly outside his own immediate environment of Kano, Jigawa. So he will do the needful.
All right, let's take this breather. When we come back, we'll discuss more. Now, I still have Dari Odufalcon and Paul Dada in the studio. And we're talking about this Social Democratic Party. Our last take on the other party, 18 political parties actually participated in that exercise. Now, out of 18, we had just 3 that made the impression. Let's say 4.
Yes.
Made that needed impression when you look at the number of states and when you look at the chart and how they were able to make a kind of impact.
Yes. And among the 4, 1 is a winner, 2 are contesting the outcome.
The winner got 25% in
25% 29 states.
Everywhere required.
Yeah.
In 29 states.
29 states.
Okay. The runner-up got it in 21, and the second runner-up got it in 15. But they are disenchanted. They are disgruntled. Well, if I were to, I can't even advise them because I do not. No, I can't advise them. Because if we analyze their reasons, if we analyze that election, I think it's my sincere opinion that Asiwaju truly won that election. But of stolen mandate, Sarah stolen mandate, that they are allowed. What I will concede to is their right to hold another opinion.
Okay.